My name is Haley. I'm with the University of Wisconsin Farm2Facts, and in this video I'm going to teach you how to use the Ecosystem Services tool. So there are 4 steps to this tool: creating a profile, collecting data, analyzing that data, and communicating findings. So first we're going to create our profile, and there are 2 ways to find that page. Here, if you're logged in at farm2facts.org, this is the page that you will be taken to, and you can click create your profile here, or you can go up here on Farm2Facts and producer profiles. Either will get you to this page. Remember that each year you need to create a new profile and input this data prior to the season start so that you can compare data from season to season. So if I click on this drop-down menu here, you'll see that I have a few different test farms that I've created for the purpose of this video, and you can toggle between those, and you can also go back and edit the data as well. To add a new profile, you click Add Profile, and it will let you know that a new profile has been created successfully. Once you click Save, it will let you know that that profile and data has been saved successfully. And if you accidentally create a profile that you don't need, you can also delete that profile. And as you can see, it's not in that drop-down menu any longer. So once you've created a profile, the next step is to collect your data. And again, there's 2 ways that you can get to that page. You can go up here on this navigation bar and click Ecosystem Services. Or if you were back at that home page here, you can scroll down again and click Collect Data here. All of these are clickable buttons, which is really handy. So here we're in the Ecosystem Services form. There are 8 short sections that you will fill out, and you can come in and look at this ahead of time, especially if there are some inputs that you might not have on hand, or there are some things that you need to calculate. And then once you have all of the information that you need, you can go through and enter in all of that data. So I'm going to go to my 2025 profile and start to enter in that data. Another thing to note is that if there are some terms here where you aren't certain if you use these systems or practices on your farm, there's a little I next to some of these inputs, and if you just scroll your mouse over it, it will give you a definition for that term, and you can decide whether or not you use those systems on your farm. And a big one to note is, especially for organic, it does not mean that you have to be organic certified for you to check this box. If you're using organic practices, then you can check this box. So there's just basic information here. Then we have soil health practices, alternative power, livestock, hauling to markets, farm infrastructure and machinery, biodiversity, and then more info at the end. So you can either click here to move to the next section as you input your data, or you can click next here. And one thing to note is that if some of these sections just don't apply to your production, like if you don't have livestock, you can just skip through this section and you don't need to put zeros anywhere. You never need to add in something like the word miles. Like if you travel 150 miles per week to bring your products to market, you just enter in 150 here. And again, you'll just scroll through, and once we reach the final page of additional information, the goals and aspirations section, you'll be able to revisit what you've written here, and you can see what you were thinking at the start of a season for what you might have in mind for what you want to implement or some goals that you have, and it'll help you to see what kind of progress that you've made year to year. The feedback section is really important. If there's anything that you experience while you're using this website that you had feedback on, especially like a bug, and a good rule of thumb, if you are experiencing something where it's not functioning like it's supposed to, you can always hit the refresh button up here, and that usually alleviates any issues, or you can log out and log back in again. But if there's anything that's not working properly, you can leave feedback here, or if something wasn't very clear, if there's any additions that you'd like to make. This tool is a living tool. Our research team and our development team are constantly updating how this tool functions, and we really appreciate feedback from all of our participants. If you have any questions, you can always also email us at info@farm2facts.org. And one important thing to note is that for the information that you've input into all of these sections to save, you need to click submit. So if you entered in all of that data and then you closed out your browser, if you log back in later, it's not going to be there unless you hit submit. So it's okay if you're going through and you're like, oh, I actually don't have the information for this one input. Let me just go to that last section, number 8, and hit submit, and then you can come back later and enter it in. But hitting submit is the most important part, because then you don't have to go back and redo all of those submissions. And after you submit, you'll be taken to the ecosystem services results. You can also find that here if you were to log out of the page and then you want to go back. You can click ecosystem services results, and you can toggle between the separate years that you have for your production. And in the next video, I'm going to explain how these results work, and then how you can communicate your findings and build infographics.